So welcome back to the channel, guys. That's right, we're going to build a Berocca tube power bank, because for some really weird reason every time I see these tubes in the shops I think that'd be ideal for cramming a couple of battery cells in. And because everyone's pretty much on isolation at the moment and bored, I thought, why not? Let's do it. So here's the bits I'm going to use. Obviously, start of the show, the Berocca tube. I've got an 18650 cell here, so this is a lithium ion 18650 cell, commonly found in EBIKE batteries and whole hosts of other things from China. This is a Samsung one. I haven't got any 26650s, which are a bit bigger, and that would probably be the ideal size for this, but we haven't got any, so I can't get any right now. So I'm going to stick with an 18650, and this little circuit as well, which is really cool. It's called a Powerboost 1000 from Adafruit, and what that basically does is steps up the voltage from this cell, which is about 3.7 volts nominal, up to your 5 volt USB level, and it regulates that 5 volts, so it's always a constant 5 volts at the USB port, which is what you want. Now the other really cool thing about this is it's a single cell lithium charger, and it has load balancing. Now if you've ever noticed, your normal cheap power banks won't do that. You can either charge it or discharge, so you can have it plugged into your phone or you can have it being charged up, and that's kind of okay because most people just want to charge the power bank, then take it out with them and use it. But what if you want to use this as like a sort of uninterrupted power supply, like a UPS? So basically it sits there being powered from the mains or from a USB adapter, and then as soon as that power drops, the battery carries on supplying power to your devices. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit later on, but for now I'll show you how it works. So first up, we've got to connect this battery to this, and the way they do that, they've got like a little JST plug on there. I've got a little JST plug here, so I just need to somehow get that onto this battery. So because of the way these cells are constructed, they're not that easy to kind of connect wires to. You don't really want to solder them because you might damage them. You can do it, but it's not always advisable. The only way to really get stuff connected to these is to use a spot welder, and that's what this is here. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some pure nickel strip, and I'm just going to spot weld it to either end of this battery, so it gives me somewhere to connect the wires to. Obviously those wires are really short, so I'm going to have to extend them or do something else, but that's the way we're going to do it. Fire up the spot welder. Right, that's done one side. Right, other side. My welder might be up a little bit high. Okay, so I've stuck a bit of Kapton tape under here that actually goes underneath that, because worryingly, one thing about these cells is they're actually a negative around the outside here, so the only thing stopping that from touching and shorting this battery is basically this kind of insulation around the top, and you can use little ring spacers. Haven't got any of those either, so we're using other methods like tape. So that's a way of doing it, Kapton tape, which is heat-proof tape, and that should be good for that. So got our battery. Now first little problem, that connector on the side is going to mean that the plug is actually hanging out the side of it, and there isn't a lot of space, for that plug to go. There is a little bit of space. I'll see if it will fit, but I don't think it's going to fit. Yeah, it's not going to fit, so we're going to use small wire basically to go onto those terminals there. The thing about using small wire is that it will just fuse. If anything goes wrong, if there's a short circuit or something, the wire will burn out, not actually cause any problems. Don't use fat wire. Blue tack again. That's on there pretty nicely. I'm going to take a bit of really small heat shrink just to make sure. Now just need to give that a quick heat up. Right, now what we can do is solder onto this, tin that side, and then we can connect that up. Now we've got to do this side, and now I've got to connect the positive. So this effectively is live now, so as soon as that touches that, that's sending power to that circuit. So if it's going to go bang or pop, this is where it's going to do it. Didn't seem to. Okay, so I've wrapped up the battery with a bit of this fiberglass tape. Doesn't look great, but it's alright, it's good. Also, I'd already connected this little switch and these wires. So these wires are basically for the 5 volt. So we're going to connect a USB port to those two. And this switch, pretty obviously, will be turning on and off the actual power bank itself. So we can test it out. If we switch that, then we get power. So that's showing that's okay. And then we turn it off and it goes off. So the blue light signifies that 5 volts is coming out of those two wires there. But what happens if we connect a little micro USB up to there? Got one at the ready. So there you go. You get an orange light now, which shows that it's charging. So what you can actually do is you can actually turn on and off the power bank. So blue, that's running. That will be powering your devices. turn that off, and it'll actually be charging. That's what all this clever circuitry is on here. There's a couple of ICs on there. You know, this is not a simple, straightforward charger. This is something pretty decent. And we can actually check if it's charging using one of these things, like an amp clamp. And we can see that it's putting 1 and a bit amps into that battery. So next up, just need to modify this lid. Hopefully I want to fit the little micro USB thing on that board around here somewhere. So for the last 15 minutes I've just been wrapping this up and trying to get this board to sit nicely on there. Take it all up so I can slide this in. It is a tight fit, but we are getting there, and we're sunk down nicely. I might have to rethink what we do with this switch, but maybe not. Maybe I can put this on the outside. I've still got to do the USB port as well. I'm not going to be able to fit the USB port on there, but what I might do is just have a wire coming out. Make a little hole for the switch. Add a little bit of this gel glue, just either side of the switch. It's going to take a while to go off, I think that. Right, I had a bit of a fiddle with the switch. I took the wires off and got it seated nicely, and it's all in there and properly done. I actually whacked some hot glue around the edge in the end just to keep it nice and firm. Right, that's them on there. Look, you can even see the blue light coming through the side of the case, which is pretty cool. Now I'm going to try and make a hole in here that lines up with that USB. This is actually really stable here, so that's going to be fine. Is it going to line up? Oh, it looks like it might. It looks like it might. I can't really close it up yet because I need to connect these two wires, and what I'm going to use is one of these. So I'm not going to actually mount a USB on here because I haven't really got space, but so I'm going to have this little pigtail coming out the top, and that'll be our USB socket. So we've got red and black wires on the end of here, which should correspond to either end of the USB connector, which is basically where devices get their 5 volts from. So in theory, we should connect these two together, and this becomes a live USB. Moment of truth then. See if it will charge something. Yeah, that's flashing, so that's a good sign. I guess now we can try and get all this back into the tube now. Right, so it's the next day now. After a bit of fiddling around last night, we finally got it done. There you go. I think it looks pretty good. The end cap was a little bit of a nightmare, but I don't know, it works okay. Let's see how this thing works. So here we can see it charging this little phone up, and it's also being powered from a USB which is plugged into the wall over there. So basically that is going to supply the power, which is just going to go straight through to the phone, and then obviously if that cuts that power from the USB, like there's a power cut or something like that, then this will just continue to charge and it will just discharge that battery. So it's a bit like a UPS, and this sort of thing would be really handy when connected to a solar charger, because obviously when the sun goes down the power will cut. So then the battery will then pick up. So in theory, it should be able to switch between the two. Let's have a play around with that now. Right, so if we wait for some sun to actually come out. Right, so I've got a USB solar panel here, which is basically just a very straightforward solar panel with a little regulator which just kicks out 5 volts. So basically, if there's no sun out or whatever, if this doesn't get any light on it, then there'll be no power, so you won't see a lot. At the moment, it looks like it's actually charging the battery. This is direct. But if you close the panel, then you'll see that it stops. Pretty obvious. Chickens are making a noise over there. But what happens if we actually put the Berocca power bank in between? So it's connected up, so out of the USB solar panel, into the Berocca charger, and then out to the phone. And you can see the phone's actually charging at the moment. And then if you shut that, still charging. Now you're not really going to be able to see the yellow charging light because it's so bright out here, but trust me, I just had a look in there and you can actually see it in there. So it is actually charging, so it is actually working. So there you go, it's pretty cool. Aside from the novelty factor of the little Berocca style power bank, that circuit is actually really useful for powering stuff. So, you know, if you've got something that needs a continuous power supply and it doesn't want to be turned off, maybe you've got a Raspberry Pi that you don't want to shut down in the event of a power failure or something like that. That would be really good, and I think that is mainly what that little circuit is designed for, but it's also really good for solar projects as well. So I'm thinking, you know, maybe like a security camera that's outside and, you know, there's no power out there and you basically just want to kind of harvest some energy during the day or, you know, when the sun's out, and then basically you know, run that little camera from the power bank overnight, something like that. You could do that, build that all into like a little waterproof enclosure, and that could be a good solution for that. In fact, I might actually try that on one of my little baby monitor converted cameras that I've been using recently. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed this one, hope you found it a bit fun and useful. Hope everyone's staying safe out there. Don't forget to subscribe, like, do the usual stuff. You can also find me on Instagram and Twitter, Andy Kirby. I'll leave all my links, just search my name, I should pop up. I'm doing a lot of stuff on Instagram as well with the music side of things, so if you're into that, cool. And also some more live streams coming as well. So I'll catch you in the next video, guys.